One of the most criticised things since the timeskip in Pokémon Horizons is Liko, but not necessarily because of anything she's done wrong, it's because of how the writers have handled her since then. Before the timeskip, Liko was the definition of a perfect main character. She was almost universally beloved, and that's an incredible feat when you're the follow-up to the world-famous Ash Ketchum. But then, everything changed when the timeskip attacked. Since then, it's become increasingly clear that Liko's character has really started to fall apart. The writers just aren't cooking with her like they used to. And while it'd be so easy to point out everything they've done wrong, I think a more interesting conversation is asking how they can fix it now. How can they improve Liko's character, repair her reputation, and turn her back into the shining star of Pokémon Horizons that she used to be? Let's explore that in 5 ways in this video. Number 5. Give Liko an actual rival. I think one of the biggest things Liko's been missing since the timeskip is someone to actually push her forwards. She really hasn't had that since her and Amicio became friends over 80 episodes ago. Ever since then, it feels like a lot of Liko's growth has been quite passive and almost stagnant, you know? Now don't get me wrong, Liko's obviously become stronger, a better trainer, she's battled stronger opponents, she wanted to get stronger to save Laquium, but there's a big difference between having a goal and having a person constantly pushing you towards that goal, someone testing you every step of the way. And we already know how important that is, just have a look at Ash's journey. Yeah, his goal was always to win the leagues and become a Pokemon Master, but everything about him, about his training, his battling, his success, his philosophy, it was all shaped by the rivals he had along the way. And Liko just doesn't have that, man. Now I know some of you are probably thinking, but what about Spinel? But Spinel just doesn't apply here. Yeah, he's absolutely the antagonist, but he's never been Liko's rival. Especially after the timeskip, the two of them barely interacted whatsoever. And now compare that to Roy. Roy was constantly competing with Nemona, constantly challenged by ult, he was always striving to reach the Black Rayquaza like a mountain he had to climb. Every stage of Roy's journey had someone or something actively pushing him to become stronger, and Liko hasn't had that at all. Even in the Blueberry training arc, she didn't really train. So I think Liko absolutely needs a rival. I want someone to challenge what makes Liko Liko. Her entire philosophy is that understanding Pokemon's feelings is the key to becoming a great trainer. So imagine giving Liko a rival who believes the complete opposite. Someone who believes emotions get in the way, that battles are won through discipline, power, strategy, not understanding. Suddenly every battle between Liko and that rival would mean something. They're not just trying to win, they're trying to prove each other wrong. And because of that, every encounter pushes Liko's battling skills, her philosophy, and her confidence to grow. I think Liko needs that really bad to break her out of the passivity that she's currently being plagued by, and also to just give her something new and fresh to interact with, you know? Number 4. Make Liko mentor Navi. One thing that's always bugged me since the timeskip is that Liko doesn't really have a clearly defined role within the Rising Volt Tacklers anymore. Think of everybody else. Dot is the strategist, Roy's the leader, before Navi joined, Ult was the newcomer, but Liko has always just kind of been there. She doesn't really have that unique place within the group anymore that she used to. But I think Navi's introduction to the main cast creates the perfect opportunity to fix that. We've watched Liko grow from this shy, nervous little girl who barely had the confidence to even talk to people, into a confident, headstrong teenager who's traveled multiple regions, learned so much about Pokemon, battled the biggest villains. So surely the next stage of Liko's development is for her to become the teacher. Give Liko that big sister role to Navi. Let her teach Navi how to battle, help her catch new Pokemon, give her advice when she's struggling. Let Liko pass on everything she's learned throughout her own journey. Just look at how well that's worked for Roy. Yeah, Roy hasn't been handled perfectly either since the timeskip, but his big brother bond with Ult has genuinely been one of the highlights of this story arc. I want Liko to have that too, except rather than being chaotic like Roy and Ult, it's much more supportive and protective between her and Navi, and the writers need to not be afraid to commit to it as well. Let Liko and Navi's relationship be the main focus. Let Liko actually have a role that's uniquely hers. Roy got that with Ult after all, so let Liko and Navi's bond be the main thing. Number 3. Give Liko a Mega Evolution. Okay, so this one probably needs a bit of explaining, because every time I see someone say, just give Liko a Mega Evolution, that'll fix her character, I can't help but roll my eyes, because it's blatantly not true. A Mega Evolution wouldn't magically solve all of Liko's problems, but that's not the point I'm making. For me it goes a lot deeper than that. Giving Liko a Mega Evolution is about making her character an active character again, rather than a passive one. The way the writers have handled Mega Evolution has been really strange. Ult got 2 Mega Evolutions, Roy got 3, Freed got 2, even all of the villains randomly got them, but then the main protagonist, Liko, got none. But I don't think that is the problem specifically. I think Liko not having one is a symptom of a much bigger problem, her lack of agency as a character. The writers have stopped letting Liko actively pursue her own growth. Back before the time skip, Liko was the first one who wanted to learn terrestrialization. The moment she saw how powerful it was, she immediately declared that she wanted to master it too. She knew it would help her stronger, help her on her journey ahead to Laquium, and it was such a great moment because Liko was the one driving her own development. But then the time skip happened and suddenly Liko is super passive again. She's watched Mega Evolution over and over again. She's seen firsthand how much of a game changer it is. She knew the world was in danger because of the strong spheres, and she knew everyone needed to get stronger to stop Spinel, and yet despite that, she never once showed any interest in Mega Evolution. She never talked about wanting it, she never set it as a goal for herself, and that just doesn't feel like Liko, especially comparing it to her mindset towards terrestrialization. So yeah, I do want Liko to get a Mega Evolution, but not because a Mega Evolution itself would fix her. I want it because I want to see Liko actively chasing her own growth again. I want to see her deciding that she needs to become stronger in that way. Even if it feels a little late, at least it would be a return to the proactive, determined, active Liko that we had before the time skip. Number 2. Give Liko battle focus beyond Meowscarada. One of the biggest flaws with Liko's writing since the time skip has been her complete lack of battle focus. Before the time skip, Liko was constantly getting major battles, we watched her gradually become more and more skilled and confident as a trainer, but since the time skip she's kind of been pushed aside battle-wise in my opinion. All you have to do is compare the amount of proper battles she's had to Roy, and it's honestly night and day. Because of that, it feels like Liko's battle growth has stagnated, so one of the easiest ways to fix that is to just let her battle again. Let Liko actually feel skilled, experienced, and powerful on a regular basis. Now I will give the writers credit, they have seemingly been doing more of that in the Wonder Voyage arc. Liko has battled a lot more, but that brings up the other big issue. Please chill out with the amount of Meowscarada battles. I love Meowscarada, she's one of the best Pokemon in Horizons, but it's actually getting ridiculous how much of Liko's battle focus goes exclusively to the cat. Since the time skip, almost every major battle Liko has been Meowscarada, and Wonder Voyage has made it even worse in that way. Against Feebas, Meowscarada; against the fake Ryzen Voltacklers, Meowscarada; in the Pokemon Unite episode, Meowscarada; in the upcoming Pokemon Contest episode, Meowscarada again. Dude, that's 4 Meowscarada focused battles in a row in such a tiny time span. Meanwhile, Hatterene and Armarouge are practically rotting inside of their Pokeballs. Poor Armarouge didn't even get to do anything in the final arc. We already know Horizons has a huge problem balancing the secondary Pokemon of the main characters, but I think Liko's team might be the worst example of all. You'd barely even know Hatterene and Armarouge exist right now. They hardly battle, they never show up, they never get moments to shine, and I'm gonna be honest, we've seen everything Meowscarada can do at this point. If they're not gonna give her some fun new moves, then it's just a bit boring seeing her do the same stuff in every battle. So if they really want to bring back Liko as the pro battler that we knew her as before the time skip, then they've got to do more than just giving her more battles. Let her master her entire team. Let her figure out how to use Hatterene as both a healer and a battler. Let her learn to perfect Armarouge's unique fighting style. I just think that seeing her regularly use 3 completely different Pokemon would make her feel way more skilled and active and versatile as a trainer, instead of being a one-trick pony who solves every problem with the same cat over and over and over. And number 1, actually focus on Liko's dream. This, in my opinion, is the single biggest thing the writers need to fix if they want to save Liko's character. Right from the beginning of Horizons, Liko's entire goal was established as wanting to understand the feelings of Pokemon. That was her specific talent that the other characters recognised. And to be fair, the show started well with that. All 3 of her first Pokemon were connected to healing and understanding emotions. It felt like the writers were building this really unique identity for Liko in that way. But then it's like they just forgot about it. Her dream just isn't part of the story anymore. Even in the recent episode where all of the characters affirmed their dreams for the future, Liko didn't have anything specific. She just said like, yeah, I want to travel and stuff, I guess. What happened to her entire goal of wanting to understand Pokemon's feelings and emotions? Why are the writers refusing to actually focus on that when they established it 120 episodes ago? And what's also super frustrating is that they keep wasting perfect opportunities to explore that. The Hatenna line is entirely based around emotions, and when Hatterene evolved, that entire episode was about Hatterene's feelings. It should have been Liko's moment to understand Hatterene's feelings and help her, but instead it felt like Liko had absolutely no clue and Anne figured it out instead. Why? That's literally Liko's dream, it's her Pokemon as well. And there are so many big opportunities like that that were wasted, and the fix for it is so simple. Put Liko's emotional intelligence and her talent for understanding Pokemon's feelings back at the forefront of the story. Let her be the one to understand why wild Pokemon are acting the way they are. Let her catch more Pokemon that fit that theme. Let her be the bridge between humans and Pokemon whenever conflicts happen. They could even make it part of her battling style. Maybe she could understand her opponent's Pokemon's feelings so well that she could even predict their next moves, notice when they're scared or hesitant, figure out their weaknesses by reading their emotions. That's what made Liko unique early in Horizons. Her empathy and understanding of Pokemon's feelings shouldn't just be a personality trait sitting quietly in the background. It should be her greatest strength, her talent, the thing that drives her and pushes her forward. Reinstating that dream for her would do wonders for Liko's character, because right now it just feels like she's there, just coming along for the ride, you know, with nothing pushing her. And that's a massive shame for the main protagonist. So there we have it. At the end of the day, I don't think Liko is a bad character. The polar opposite, actually. I think she's one of the best main characters the Pokemon anime has ever had, and that's why it's been so frustrating watching her stagnate since the time skip. All the pieces are right there. Her personality is still fantastic, her relationships are enjoyable, her team has so much potential. It's not like the writers have to reinvent her character, they just have to start using what they've already created. They need to focus on her strengths rather than sidelining them over and over again. And if the writers can just do that and give her the respect again that she deserves, then I truly think she can become the character she was before the time skip once more. So let me know what you think the writers should do about Liko below. Do you agree that she hasn't been handled very well since the time skip? And also be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Thank you so much to all of my incredible channel members, you guys are legends. That includes Toten, Not Minnie, Hope, Jay, Jackson, Jay, Shiny. And on that note, thank you all so much for watching and best wishes until we meet again.